Hello everyone. In this video we will talk about editing the data in Microsoft Excel and performing some operations on the interface of the spreadsheet. Let's start with selecting the data. We perform the select operation in order to select the data for editing or for performing some calculations or applying the formula or to do some formatting. In order to select the cell, you simply move the mouse pointer over the cell and you click it once. Once you click the cell, it is surrounded by a dark border and the name box shows you the cell reference. Another way of selecting the cells will be to use the arrow keys. So if you use the down arrow, you can see we are able to select the cells below the current position. And similarly, using the right arrow, we can select the cells on the right. Using the left, we can do it for the cells on the left, and so on. Now, in case you want to select the complete row of cells, you can simply click on the row number. And similarly, when you want to select all the cells in a particular column, you can click on the column name. In case you want to have multiple cells selected, you can click on the first cell and then drag the mouse pointer over the cells you want to select. The same thing can be done using the keyboard also. For that, you select the first cell which you want to select and then hold the shift key and press the right arrow to select the cells on the right or the left arrow to select the cells on the left. You can also press the down arrow to select the cells below the current cell, and similarly the up arrow to select the cells above the current cell. And in case you want to select the multiple columns with the same number of cells that you have selected in the current column, you can press the right arrow. Now, as you can see, in this case, we have selected 3 cells in the first column and then we use the right arrow to select the 3 cells each from the multiple columns. When you select multiple cells, all of them are highlighted and this whole collection of cells is called as range. So in this case, the range starts from B5 and ends at F7. Similarly, if you want to select another group of cells, you can press the Ctrl key from the keyboard and again drag the mouse pointer over the cells you want to select. So in this case, we have 2 groups. So first one was selected normally and after that we pressed the Ctrl key and then dragged the mouse pointer over the group of cells we want to select. Now suppose you want to select a particular range of cells, for example C5 to E10. Then in that case, you can click in the first cell of the range, that is C5, and then press and hold the shift key and then click in the last cell, that is E10, and you can see that you have selected the whole group of cells at a single click. Now let's talk about editing the contents. In order to edit the contents of the cell, you can simply double click in the cells in which you want to edit the content. We generally edit the content in order to update the data or to correct the mistakes. For example, in this cell, as you can see, in this case, the spelling is incorrect for the word monitor. So when we double click, there is a flashing line appearing which tells us where the data will appear if we start typing it right now. Now in order to move the insertion position to appropriate location, we can use the arrow keys. So I want it to appear after N. So I will write I from the keyboard and then press Enter key. And you can see we have edited the contents here. In the same way, we want to correct the spelling of keyboard, and this time I don't want to double click, rather I will press the F2 function key. This also performs the same action and places the flashing line indicating that it is ready for editing. Now again you can use the arrow keys to move to the appropriate position. Again you can type the things from the keyboard and press the Enter key to confirm. Now suppose you want to remove the contents of the cell partially. For this, again you can double click in the cell you want to perform the editing in, and then you can use the arrow keys to move to appropriate position. Now in case you want to remove the characters at the left of the flashing line, you can use the backspace key from the keyboard. Or if you want to remove the characters on the right of the flashing line, you can use the delete key from the keyboard. Now again, if you want, you can have some more data added in the cell and then press the enter key to confirm the editing. Sometimes there is some data in the worksheet which we do not need anymore. So in that case, we can simply remove that. And in order to remove that data, you can select the cell from which you want to remove the data and press the delete key from the keyboard. Not only the content of one cell, you can also select a cell range and then press the delete key, and this will remove all the data in the selected range of cells. Now in this case, you can see that I have removed all the data. But what if I don't want to do this thing? Or what if I want to revert the changes that I have made? Microsoft Excel remembers the last changes that you have made to your worksheet. So in this case, I can use the undo feature to revert the changes that I have made. So this can be done in two ways. One is go to the quick access toolbar and click on the undo, or you can press Ctrl and Z from the keyboard and you can see that your data is back here. If you press the undo button again, you can see the previous change that I had made is also cancelled. Now, in case you want to cancel the changes made by undo feature, you can use the redo feature. For this, again you can click on the redo button from the quick access toolbar, or you can press the Ctrl and Y keys from the keyboard. So as you can see, I pressed the redo key and the data is cleared again. Now let's talk about copying or moving the data in a worksheet. In order to copy the data, you first select the cells by dragging the mouse pointer or using the other ways of selecting the data. Then you can click on the copy button from the clipboard group on Home tab, or you can press Ctrl and C keys together. Now click in the cell where you want this data to appear. Now press the paste button from the clipboard group again, or you can also press Ctrl and V keys together. This makes another copy of the data that you selected as a source. And as you can see, we had clicked in the cell only and rest of the cells are automatically filled as per the source. So since the cells were selected in vertical manner, the data appears in the vertical manner only. Similarly, you can also use the drag and drop feature to copy the data. For that, let's select the keyboard column. After the selection, you can move the mouse pointer on the border, and when it changes to the four-headed arrow or the move pointer, you can press and hold the Ctrl key and then drag it to the new location where you want this data to appear, and you can see the data has been copied. Now let's talk about the move operation. In order to move the data, you can simply select the cells and then click on the cut option from the clipboard again, or you can press the Ctrl and X keys together. Now you can click in the target cell and then click on, and you can see the data is moved from the source and it appears on the destination. Another way of moving the data will be using the drag and drop feature. For this, you can select the data you want to move. For example, this data I want to move. So select the data and place the mouse pointer over the border area. As you can see, it has changed into the four-headed arrow, and this time you can simply click and drag it to the new location. One thing that you must have noticed here is when you copy the data stays at the source and appears at the destination also. Whereas in case we move the data, it disappears from the source and appears at the destination. Now let's talk about resizing a row or a column. In order to resize a row, you place the mouse pointer between the two rows, and when you do so, you have the mouse pointer changed into the resizing handles. So now you can click and drag it upwards to shrink the row, or you can drag it downwards to expand the row height. By default, the row height is 15 points. So in order to maintain that height, you can go to the cells group of buttons and click on Format and then select the row height option. And here you can provide the height that you want. Remember, this will be provided in point size. So by default it is 15 points. So I'm going to make it the default by providing here 15. Now click on OK and you can see that the row is resized. Now, in case you want to adjust the width of a column, you can place the mouse pointer between the two columns. Now you can click and drag the pointer to the new position. As you can see, there is a dotted line appearing on the screen which shows till where the column will be expanded. And once it is as per your requirement, you can release the mouse key and you can see the column is resized. Now in case you want to resize the column to its default width, you can click on any one of the cells, or you can have even entire column selected and then go to the Format button and then select column width. In this you can see it is showing 13.71. However, the default column width is 8.43 characters. So this is not in points but in number of characters. So it is 8.43 characters. Now click on OK and you can see that the cell has its default width. You can do the same by clicking on the down arrow for Format button and then selecting the default width option. Here the default width, that is 8.43 characters, is displayed, and if you want to accept this, you can click on OK right away, or you can provide the different default width that you want. For example, I want to make it 11.43. So this will be new default column width for all the columns in the worksheet. Now click on OK and you can see all the columns are resized as per the new default width specification. But the column A is not resized. So don't worry, it is because we have set 8.43 characters as width of this column manually. Now, in case you want to adjust the width of the column as per the contents of the cells, you can place the mouse pointer between the two columns, and then when the pointer changes to resizing handles, you can simply double click on it and this will automatically resize the column to the appropriate width. Similarly, you can do the same for all the columns you want to automatically fit to its contents. Now let's see how do we insert a new row or a column. In order to insert a new column, you can right click on the column to the left of which you want to insert a new column. For example, in this case, I have right clicked on the column B, which contains the details for monitor. Now click on Insert and you can see that we have a new column just before the previous column. Now we'll click in the cell here and we will write last name. Similarly, let's edit the content of the first cell and make it first name. Now in case you want to insert another row, you can right click on the row above which you want to add a new row. So in this case, I will right click on 14th row and then I will click on Insert, and as you can see, we have a new row just above the row we right clicked upon. The same things can be done by clicking on the Insert button down arrow from the cells group. When you click on the down arrow, you can see the options for inserting the cells or inserting the sheet rows or inserting a complete new worksheet and so on. Now let's insert another column before the last name, and for this we can have any of the cells from this column selected, and then we can go to the cell group of buttons and then we can click on the down arrow of the Insert button from the cells group. And now we can click on Insert Sheet Columns. So this will add a new column to the worksheet. Similarly, if you want to add a new row Then you can select any cell in the particular row and then click on the down arrow for insert button and select insert sheet rows, and this way you can see we have new row inserted in the worksheet. Cancel these actions by clicking on the undo button. Now let's see how do we delete a row or a column. In order to delete a row or a column, you simply select the cell in the row or the column which you want to delete, and then go to the cells group of buttons and click on down arrow for the delete cells button. And now here you can see the options for deleting the sheet rows or the sheet columns or the worksheet also. So now in this case we want to delete the columns, so we click on delete sheet columns and you can see the column is deleted. Similarly, if you want to delete the row, you can click in any of the cells in the row which you want to delete, and similarly you can click on the down arrow for delete button and select delete sheet rows option, and this will delete the entire row. Thank you.